In 20 years someone will ask what was COVID lockdown like, how will you answer? COVID lit something in me and I've been gassed up ever since. I started mowing lawns out the trunk of my '03 Accord. Then I learned how to climb and properly remove trees. I have a big OL truck and trailer and a ton of equipment now. I was an alcoholic server/bartender before and super depressed. 2 of my teenage kids have moved in with me and I'm in the best shape of my life. I made a metric fuck ton of money delivering pizzas on empty streets. The great toilet paper shortage of the 20s, is how I'll begin. The bizarre determinations on who could be considered an essential worker. My son was considered an essential worker. He was a teenager working his first job in fast food. Surreal mostly. Weird. Lots of anxiety, but it was also kinda peaceful. I count myself very lucky that I had a stable job that I could do from home and that I owned a house with a nice outdoor space. I'll be surprised if anyone asks. When it did strike, my brother, who studied infectious diseases while in college, was astonished he'd never thought to ask our 4 grandparents about the Spanish flu. They were all young adults when it hit. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. It was the cleanest of times, it was the dirtiest of times. It was the quietest of times, it was the loudest of times. It was the funnest of times, it was the boringest of times. Alcoholism. Lots of Zoom calls in my underwear. No difference for me. Work was somehow considered essential. We make cabinets, drawers, and I think we had maybe 3 to 4 orders for the COVID tents during the lockdown. 1 day of work to be considered essential for the whole lockdown. I'm an introvert/gamer and just bought my house, so didn't really have need to go anywhere. Okay, one difference, Walmart closing at 8 p.m. meant I couldn't go grocery shopping after work anymore. Everyone got fat and social media got stupid. Quiet. It is hard to lose a family member and not even be able to have a funeral. Depressed about being locked up. In beginning for Canada, there was a type of cooperation which was incredible. After a few months, invasive social media crept in and changed everything. People went from communal to factional in the span of a few months. Wouldn't know. I worked in the hospital morgue for the whole lockdown. I hoped not to catch the incurable blood clotting disease that killed many of my clients for $19/HR. I was called a hero and an essential worker while I couldn't afford to buy a house. My best friend started wearing masks, carrying hand sanitizers, and telling everyone that when the vaccine becomes available, she is first in line. Right before she could get the vaccine, she got COVID, ended up in ICU where she was isolated for 6 weeks and no one could visit her at the hospital, then moved up to another part of the hospital where she died. The last phone call we had, she told me she can't stand the hospital because the food sucks here. She couldn't taste the food. Rip Sully. Everyone loved you and we all miss you. Fucking depressing. I don't want to say that I wasted up to 4 years of my life cause I didn't, but I felt not even real. I think I dissociated the whole thing. Like some weird collective psychosis. Like we collectively all lost our sanity for a while, but with good reason. The 20 lockdown was a weirdly magical time that was quiet and peaceful, but filled with anxiety. The early 21 lockdown was an absolute nightmare of depression and a slowly decreasing grip on reality. I did a lot of walking. 2 words. Tiger King. I was a student nurse at the time and we were asked to volunteer to support the qualified nurses. It was terrifying and absolute hell. I was an essential worker. It was the year I understood the depth of how little Americans care about each other. Nothing really changed. I still had to go to work while most people got to stay home and chill. I'd tell them about how the mayor of Chicago told people if they left their house they'd be jailed, but then she went and got a haircut. It was like all your friends and you being grounded at the same time. Quiet, relaxing, and scary for the first bit, then it was just peaceful. It was pretty much a test run of how fast we will turn and completely destroy each other if faced with an actual disaster. By all accounts this is a small change of quality of life, when the next hits it will be even worse. It was hell. I was a retail manager for Walmart. No lockdown, no free unemployment money, no government help. Constantly understaffed, overworked, and exhausted. We were essential but never got any benefit or recognition. We were physically accosted by people who didn't want to wear masks, but it was a state OSHA ordinance that they were kicked out. We got no choice but got demanded. We got yelled at for toilet paper and other essentials that were just gone, no suppliers had anything, and customer frustrations were taken out on the retail management. So yeah, it was grand. A time for rebirth and growth, but before that happened I was drinking 20+ a day and actively ruining my life. 2 years sober now.